Alright, what's up everybody, it's Schplef, and today we are going over Operation Phantom Site patch notes. This is a big patch. They did a lot of cool things in this patch, I'll be honest. I wasn't expecting much, but there's quite a bit. We got 2 new operators, and I know I already went over them. I already speculated about them in my last episode, but this is all the actual information. They did some pretty cool things. They upgraded the shop. They increased loading times, you know, new elite skins, new operators, new seasonal skins, tons of bug fixes, all that good stuff. So we're going to start off with the new operators and just general operator changes. Starting with knock, or it's like, it's pronounced Nick? Something like that. Like not knock, but like Nick with like a weird accent. But she's a 2-speed, 2 armor. She's got the FMG9, which got a new sight, the Vulcan sight, I think is the name of it, which is the same sight that Mozzie got. So you take Mozzie's sight and you put on Smoke's primary SMG, and that's what you get. She also has the 612 SD, which is Lee's shotgun. She has the Desert Eagle and the 5.7 USG for sidearms. Her equipment is a claymore and breach charges. They're not going to give her smoke or flashbangs. She flashes in and then goes invisible on cameras and then silent steps into the room. Fuck that. But her gadget is called the HEL Presence Reduction. I like to say Hell Presence Reduction because it sounds way cooler. It's essentially a glove attachment that makes Nook invisible to cameras when she is moving at a normal speed, like walking. So when she's vaulting or sprinting or pulling a goo out of her leg, she is slightly visible on cameras, like you'll see a bit of distortion. It has a recharge time, but it's not limited to a cooldown. So I believe there's a certain point where you can activate it again even though it's not fully recharged, which makes it pretty good. But since she was actually introduced in the video uploaded by the Rainbow Six Siege team, I think she's actually much better than I originally speculated in my last video, because now every roamer, regardless of whether she's on the team or not, is going to have to worry if she's on the team. If she is, then he's going to have a rough time roaming. It's going to be really interesting to see how roamers and the roaming meta in general changes around this operator. The next new operator, his name is Warden. He's a tie-wearing 1-speed 3 armor operator. He's got the M590A1, which is the same thing as Smoke Shotgun, or Sledge 2, I believe. He comes with the MPX. His pistols are the P10C, which is LR Sophia's pistol, and the SMG-12. It's a pretty nice getup you got there going, Warden. His equipments are the deployable shield and barbed wire, and his gadget is called Glance. This allows Warden to see through smoke and flashes for a brief period of time as long as he is immobile. That's the kicker right there, immobile. Once he moves, he can be flashed like normal. It's limited based on his cooldown, so like Nook, she can use it repeatedly regardless of whether it's fully recharged or not, but he has to wait for the cooldown to go all the way back to the top. He'll still be really good in terms of preventing the smoke plants and the flash plants, but it's going to be more difficult because he can't move. So if he's expecting the smoke plant and he's like hiding behind cover, he can't stand up while using it to peek if anyone's there. He has to expose himself before using the gadget, which means somebody who's holding an angle theoretically where he is, because they know where he is, and he stands up to use his gadget to look through the smoke because he knows the dude's planning, that dude can kill him. This pushes for a bit more teamwork. His glance ability is basically a counter to Blitz, Glaz, and Ying, or whoever else can really throw smokes and flashes. He's a really good operator. He's got a solid counter to a lot of operators. I see him almost being like the Thatcher of defending side because of his ability to counter a lot of equipment and a lot of operators that rely on either set equipment like flashes and smokes or operators that use flashes and smokes. So overall, these 2 new operators, I think they're actually really crazy. And I was expecting Warden to be way ahead of Nook in terms of abilities and how effective he's going to be as an operator, but I think she is going to be she is in Nuck, is going to be a little bit closer to him than I expected, just because of how important roaming is to the defending side. So the only operator left that got a really decent change was Glaz. And what happens now is when you're standing still, you have your thermal sight, but once you start moving, there's these little tickers on the side of your scope, and they tick down based on how many steps you take. And once they reach the bottom, your thermal sight goes away. So this essentially makes it so you, as a Glaz player, would have to think more about the moves you're going to make, and there's going to be more consequences for you being an idiot. I think it's a decent change. I used to think he was going to just drop off a cliff and be the worst operator, but watching YouTube videos on it and doing a bit of research, I think he's going to be okay. I think this will put him in a good place where he's not going to have so much of a presence, especially in bomb, and especially with the amount of smokes that there are. He's not going to have nearly as a threatening presence as he would before this change. So I like it. The new map that came with this patch is actually just a rework, which is kind of disappointing. So we got a rework of a map instead of a new map, and we got no new weapons. You know, it's not the worst. It could be better. But the new map rework is pretty good. I've watched a couple of videos on it. They changed a lot up in like kitchen area. They added like balconies up on the 3rd floor below the skylight. They added like a bunch of doors here and there. They changed up train room. They did a few things here and there. I'm pretty sure they made it so the library is a bit easier to defend now too. And then we'll move on to the update to ranked. I think this is a huge change for this game, and especially ranked mode, because they're adding pick and ban. They're doing 3-round rotations, and the bomb game mode is now the only standard for all ranked matches. So instead of being able to do like hostage and secure area, now it's only bomb. This change, I think, was noticeable. I think they explained that they were going to do it earlier, but it was really noticeable that they're sticking with it, because you started to see all these changes with these past operators where they were getting changed to be focused more on teamwork as opposed to like a run and gun lonesome player kind of thing. Because with secure area, there's less teamwork because only one person is really securing the area. When it comes to bomb, like, yeah, you could run in and plant, but it's a little bit harder than running in and planting when you have your team backing you up. They added a new shop. It's about fucking time. Apparently they also changed the way the menus work or something, so they're a little bit faster, so that's cool too. Legion got an elite skin, and some of the seasonal skins are pretty cool, but let's move on to the bug fixes. Now there's a lot of them. There's probably just under 100 of them. I didn't do a count. This is just an estimation. But some of them are like character model and hitbox are desynced after a series of movements, or rappelling upside down can give you an advantageous angle to the attacker. Or some assets in certain maps would block bullets and block gadgets because like the trees or the rocks were much bigger than they appeared, so they fixed that. Ying is able to throw her Gandales while falling now. Just a few things here and there that I wanted to point out. There's some good ones in here, but I don't want to list all of them because that would just take ages. So the patch is pretty big. I'll link the patch in the description for you guys. There's a lot of stuff in here that I kind of didn't really go over because it wasn't super necessary. Like, I'm not going to go over the entire fucking patch and be like, well, I think her adrenaline surge now clears the tinnitus from explosives. And I'm going to sit here for 20 fucking minutes talking to you guys about some shit that you could just read yourself in 2 seconds. You know, so, like, the whole point of this is so I can just give you my thoughts on the new operators, essentially, and some of the important changes. It's not really... I'm not going to just read the patch notes to you because that's stupid. That's like when you have a presentation and you build a PowerPoint and you just put the paragraphs in the PowerPoint and you sit there and stare at the PowerPoint and you're like, so if you look at the figure 1 here, you can see that our assets have increased by 200%. Like, nobody wants to hear that bullshit. So I'm doing all of you a favor by giving you my thoughts on the patch notes instead of you having to read. I mean, if you don't want to read them, then you're in the right place, I guess, too. But I think that's going to do it for this episode. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.